This is an Audi TTRS, and let's cut to the chase. Anyone who knows these cars knows how blisteringly, unnervingly fast they are. Oh my God. Now, if you're planning on buying one, stick around for this video because we're going to cover all the points you need to check and look at some of the quirks and features about the car. We'll also take it out on the road and see how it drives. Let's go. So if you've watched any other of my buyer's guides, you'll see they're usually chock full of points to check. Thing is, with the TTRS, it's really too new to have any serious problems. As well as that, it's generally pretty bulletproof. However, there are a few points we can still check. Now, to get us started, we want to have a look at this front end. Now, they are quick cars and at home on the track. So we want to have a look here, make sure there's no gravel rash, no deep stone chips. So one thing you do want to check is the rear top mounts. Now, the reason I mention these, well, they were actually rectified under recall by Audi. Now, there's no visual check we can do here. You're gonna need to listen out on that test drive. The way that noisy top mounts manifests itself is a clunking or banging sound coming from the rear, especially over potholes or speed bumps. So hopping into this beautiful interior, there's plenty to love. Now, what strikes you straight away is just how clean and tidy this is. Now, also the materials that are used, just wonderful. You've got this combination of leather and Alcantara everywhere. And one thing I especially like is the way that the heater vents work. Why can't every car just be this simple? So we've got our traditional vent here, which is controlled mechanically. We can open and close them. But then we've got these digital readouts that sit in the center of them. And going one step further, even the heated seat is in the middle of these air vents as well. It's just so clean and nice. Now, obviously, we can't sit in this interior and not talk about that beautiful big display we've got in front of us, known as the virtual cockpit. It really is a thing to behold, and we can chop and change our view just depending on what we want and our driving style, so to speak. Another quirk that you're going to find in here is that you are not allowed to forget that this is an RS model. There is RS badging everywhere. It's on the steering wheel, it's on the door sills, it's on the seats, it's on the front, it's on the back. It's no bad thing though. You pay this money for a TT, you want to be reminded you've got the RS version. Before we get out of this gorgeous interior, there is one problem to mention here, and that is to do with the windows, known as the freezing windows problem. In the winter, when the temperature drops, what you'll find is you go to open your door and it doesn't quite lower the window enough to open it or close it. So you're kind of at risk of breaking the window, which is not great. Unfortunately, there's not an awful lot we can do to test for that unless you're buying the car in colder conditions. Now, when it comes to the rear of the TT, I think Audi really dropped the ball here. There's an awful lot of exposed metal. The seats don't look very comfortable, and you can see some wiring. It's very un-Audi. I'm only joking. This car's been stripped out because it's going drag racing at Crail tomorrow. So if you want to take a guess, drop it in the comments below of the time you think it's going to run. Now, stripped interior aside, one thing that is really quite humorous on this is there's actually a little label on here that shows when you close this boot lid, be sure not to hit your passenger in the head because there is so little headspace back there once this is closed over. Now, here's something really interesting. On the front here, they've actually badged it as Quattro, which I mention this because it's not actually a Quattro system. Instead, it's actually a front-wheel drive setup with Haldex, so it can send up to 50% of the power to the rear. And obviously, that's not traditional Quattro in the usual sense. However, I guess it is Audi's to do with as they wish. But interesting quirk nonetheless. So under the bonnet, we've got that iconic 5-cylinder engine that's shared with the Audi RS3 as well. Now the firing order on this goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. And that's what gives us that sort of notable 5-cylinder warble sound that this car's got. Right, so we're not going to beat about the bush. This thing is fast. So honestly, the first thing you're going to notice in this, once you get over the wonderful interior is just that engine, that 2.5 litre, 400 horsepower stock engine sits in the mix like a rocket taped to a skateboard. It's insane, and it just dominates the entire experience of the car. That's the first thing. However, this car is not stock, it's a stage 1 car, so what kind of power is that running, Ewan?
470.
So about 470 brake horsepower in this car. It feels every one of those 470 horsepower as well.
You got the gearbox too.
Oh yeah, and the gearbox mapped as well. So what is that, quicker changes?
Yeah, so like basically on the upshift it's a lot more responsive and it actually changes at a better time. So you get bit more of a pull.
Yeah, okay, got you. And honestly, moving on from the engine, which is kind of hard to do because that is what's dominating the entire experience. But when you hit the back roads in this, the RS progressive steering, wow, it really turns in quick and you can hoon this thing. Fucking hell. Jesus.
You see the lights go on there?
I did, yeah. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. So I expected it to be quick, but wow, not like that. Honestly, I think doesn't matter what the weather, doesn't matter about the road surface, it's not particularly being grabbed by potholes or tram line or anything like that. For all weather ability and hassling pretty much any car, anytime, this is your weapon of choice. As we make our way around these twisting roads, one thing that's starting to become apparent is just how nicely damped the car is. It is firmly sprung, you can feel that. However, because the damping is so nice and progressive, it just feels tight, if you get what I mean. It's not crashy. So of course, something else the car comes with is launch control, as you would expect, which we're going to sample now. So foot in the brake.
So you hold this off as well?
So
I'll do that for you.
Traction off, hard on the brake, hard on the throttle.
Yep, so just sort of rev it just so it knows what it's trying to do. Then fully rev it.
Foot off the brake.
Go.
Oh my god.
You hear that noise? That's first going to second.
Look at my camera. I've never felt anything that violent in a car, ever. Like, I'm gonna look back on my face there because honestly, I went tunnel vision, blind. Oh my god, man. Oh, right, that's enough of that.
It's because that's fully turned off, it's very playful.
Playful?
Like, honestly, you could see if you had that turned off fully, you could do donuts, I think. Like,
I feel like I've been punched in the head. So it's quite a welcome change of pace actually to explain to you guys how this car, once we drop it into the comfort setting and we put the box in auto, you can just cruise along like any other Audi. It's as placid and as passive as my A4 that I drive every day. And there we go, just like that, you've got all the tips for going to buy your own TTRS. Now, if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments section below. But for now, good luck with finding your perfect TTRS.